Having watched the Reform press conference with the unbelievable waste at council level on council pensions, the pensions themselves won't be affected. What the waste is about is the fees and setting up costs that councils have just took on the chin. When you're dealing in large amounts of money, you get a better rate of interest because the bank is lending you more money or whatever's going on. And they've organised pensions through fund managers that are charging the same sort of rate that they would charge if they were doing one pension. And these are for billions of pounds worth of pensions. So much so that Reform have suggested that the councils could either, it could result in rate rebates or less council tax, or even sorting out social care at home. If you get the opportunity, go on to any of the socials that Reform have. I think they have a YouTube channel, and watch the press conference. It's mind-blowing. And this is why we should take more notice of what's going on at council level, because it doesn't matter if Reform control your council or not, we need to get among this. We need to know what's going on with these councils, because there are billions and billions wasted on so many different areas that could be cleaned up. And let's face it, council money is government money. It's government spending. It's our money. It comes from taxes, nowhere else. We need to get a grip of this. We need to understand why it's so important to us, and to stop concentrating on vanity projects and stuff that's not going to immediately affect us. This isn't affecting us in the here and now, and it can be changed. Reform now control 13 councils with 800 councillors. That's a big difference, and they've managed to uncover this with Doge, which is why no matter what you hear on social media, Yusuf is there for one reason: Doge. To Doge at council level, and its effectiveness can then be transported to government level. So the civil service aren't going to get away with treating us the way they have, with disdain, and just getting on with rolling out ideas that we don't get to know about. Stuff like HS2 would never get past a Reform government, never in a million years. Neither would net stupid, as I call it, because they would investigate it more, because they're not cozying up to any big corporations that benefit from it. So on that note, and bearing in mind, I do think one area that's neglected in this country is social care. I wrote this last night, and it's very timely with the press conference today. I want you to tell me what you think. See if you've seen these observations. There are many sad things in this world, and one of the saddest to me is seeing old people having to go into an old people's home. We give them nice titles like care homes, but even appealing names like Butternut Lodge and Sycamore House. The stark reality in many cases is the cheapest of cheap furniture, tired decorating, warm floorings, unkept grounds with dry plants desperate for water, as are many of the residents. Dehydration is a common occurrence, leading to bladder infections which result in hospital stays that lead to disorientation and fear. The industry is seriously flawed, understaffed and made worse by soulless politicians who sacked 45,000 care workers in one go because they had the audacity to be cautious about the rollout that was oversold and lied about. These desolate places where people spend their end of days are abundant in one area only: profit. Some owners spend their lives in opulent mansions or even on their yachts in the south of France, as working class pensioners have to leave their family homes as prized possessions of happier times turn into a house clearance. Just a few small pieces of memorabilia are selected as their final treasures. I look round my own home with objects from the past that tell their story and realise one day this could be me. Deciding what will fit on a small bedside cabinet and a chest of drawers. We even had the audacity in this country and others to take away the one thing that was left. They'd lost their partners, their homes and their worldly goods, and we took away their contact with the outside world, their friends and family who would visit and bring treats that they knew they would like. We subjected them to a sterile world, and for many, that was the last they saw of this abundant planet. No countryside or beaches, no fresh air, no joy, no laughter from the little ones who may visit. Just a desolate end. The whole industry needs regulating, and we must never let flimsy, unproven guesswork bureaucracy keep us from seeing them ever again. And I say this because I know that is something that Reform would completely avoid. There are so many things that they would not have done had they been the government. They're a new party. They're going to struggle to do everything that everybody wants at the right time because there's only a small amount of people. But because I deal with these people, and I do speak to Nigel, and I do speak to David Bull and Zia, I deal with all of them. Not because I'm trying to show off, because I want to know if I've got it right. I want to know if I'm on the right track for what I want from my life, because I'm 67. So, what's my future hold if I need a care home? And if I want to stay in my house, I want to live in my country. I don't want to have to abscond somewhere. I'm not young enough to set off and go and create myself a little tax haven in Dubai. I couldn't live in the bloody desert anyway. I don't want to be there. I don't want to have to leave this green and pleasant land as it's known just to go and avoid a government. What we should be doing is we should be getting rid of the government so we can get on with how we want to live here. And I think Reform is the closest thing I'm going to get to what I want. And there's nothing else. There's nobody else with anything on offer other than hot air. Hot air. And just because certain people are backing them with a lot of money doesn't make the air any less hot. It doesn't draw me in at all. In fact, I'm not too keen on foreigners getting involved from a point of view of trying to sway our judgment. Fair enough, if you want to go and be a backer and lodge your money there, get on with it. But don't start using your platform to start telling me how to think. I'm quite happy with my thought process and where I lodge my loyalties. I'm really quite close to Alan Miller from Together, and they are tenacious in what they try to do. And I do believe they're in it for the right reasons, as I do with Reform. Anyway, at the conference this year, Together do have a stand there. So that's good, and they've got about, I think, 500 tickets for that. So the conference must be pretty big. And I know that ticket sales are not what they should have been for the other parties, because somebody grassed them up. Is it any wonder? Is it any wonder? Because they've not realised anything. We're literally buying gas from Norway at a premium price, and they're getting it from the same seabed where we sit next to. There's Norway's gas, there's our gas. I mean, how ludicrous is that? Because of some net stupid. And, an industry that's creating bloody multi-millionaires, well, we get shafted. HS2, good grief. They're spending another 100 million on another bat tunnel now for HS2. That's because the bats use the tunnel. So what they're going to do is build a separate tunnel so the bats can use that tunnel. Bats are pretty savvy. They'll just bugger off somewhere else. The stuff that's put in front of our needs is off the scale. Off the scale, ludicrous. And they've got away with it for decades. And now the pushback is here. They don't like it. They don't like it one bit because they've actually got a challenge. And nothing will detract me from what I see as the main component in getting rid of this crap from our politics. Because what we have got serving us in Westminster is the dregs of society. They're the dregs of society. These people who don't take any note of what we want and carry on regardless with their own pet projects. I'm sick of them. I'm sick to death of all of them. And so, I use my platforms to get my own message out. And my message is, you're a council, Lancashire County Council, spend your bloody money in the council, invest in your area. They're investing in overseas projects in Indonesia. Indonesia's in the middle of civil unrest. How's that going to work out as an investment? These people have been crackpot crazy. They're clueless. These are ordinary people running fish and chip shops. and a newsagent. I know, let's invest on the world stage. I know bugger all about. No, get real, get back to basics, get some advice in from people that are experts, and don't go paying 0.5% fee for your setting up costs, etc., for your pension funds when you're giving them £1 billion worth of business. You don't go in at 0.5%, you're going at 0.01%. They're getting, millionaires are being created on the back of managing council pension schemes. That's madness. It's got nothing to do with the pensions being disrupted. The pensions, the people will get the pensions. That's not the issue. The unions don't need to worry about that. I'm talking about the mismanagement of the funding being set up and being handled before it gets to the people that will actually use the money. It's been absolutely appalling. Do watch the press conference, because this has nothing to do with reform. This is reform that happens to be uncovering what happens to all of us from every council in the country, no matter who controls it. It's about time you sharpen your bloody pencils and lace your boots up and got on with some real decent work for people, instead of spaffing the money away on batshit crazy projects, because I'm up to here with it.